Have you ever felt something unusual in your body? Just a fleeting sensation you brushed off, only to wonder later if you should have paid more attention. Maybe it was a moment of sudden dizziness, a strange tingling in your hand, or even a brief episode where your words didn't come out the way you intended. If you've had experiences like that, you're not alone. Many people over 60 experience subtle health changes and dismiss them as just getting older. But sometimes those seemingly harmless moments are your body's way of sounding an alarm. That's especially true when it comes to strokes. We've all heard about the classic signs: facial drooping, arm weakness, slurred speech. But what many people don't realize is that strokes often begin with much quieter, subtler symptoms. These silent signs can be easy to overlook, especially if they come and go quickly. But here's why this matters. Recognizing those early warning signals could save your life or the life of someone you love. As we age, our risk for stroke naturally increases, and it's not just because of things like blood pressure or cholesterol. Changes in circulation, the health of our arteries, and even small lifestyle factors can all play a role. And because these silent symptoms can be so mild or brief, many seniors ignore them or chalk them up to fatigue, dehydration, or even just a bad day. But those little moments, they can be the difference between getting help in time or facing lasting damage. One of the most common silent signs is sudden confusion or trouble understanding what's happening around you. Imagine you're in the middle of a conversation and suddenly, even for a few seconds, the words just don't make sense, or you can't quite follow what someone else is saying. It's easy to dismiss that as distraction or being tired, but for many people, this is the brain's way of signaling something is wrong. Strokes affect blood flow to the brain, and even a brief disruption in that flow can scramble your ability to process information. If you've ever had a moment like this and felt yourself quickly snap back, that's exactly the kind of fleeting symptom most people overlook, but shouldn't. Another subtle warning sign is sudden, unexplained dizziness or loss of balance. Of course, we all feel lightheaded now and then if we stand up too quickly or haven't eaten enough. But stroke-related dizziness often feels different. It can come on abruptly, even while you're sitting still, and it may be accompanied by a sense of being off balance or unsteady on your feet. You might grab for a chair or feel like you need to sit down immediately. This happens because strokes can impact the parts of the brain that control coordination and spatial awareness, and it can happen without any pain or obvious weakness to clue you in. Now, you might be wondering how to tell the difference between an ordinary off day and something serious. The key is to listen to your body and trust when something feels off in a way you can't explain. Strokes don't always arrive dramatically. They often whisper before they roar. That's why these early, quieter signs are so important to know. They're like small ripples in the water before the wave hits. And if you catch them early, you have a far greater chance of preventing severe consequences. The truth is, none of us like to think about strokes. It's scary, and sometimes it's easier to just ignore those fleeting symptoms because we don't want to believe they could mean something serious. But knowledge is power. The more you understand what to watch for, the better prepared you are to act quickly, and that quick action can be life-saving. You deserve to feel confident, not fearful, about your health, and understanding these silent signals is a big step toward that. So, if you've ever had those moments where you brushed something off and later wondered, should I have paid more attention? This is your reminder to start listening to your body more closely. It's not about living in fear, it's about staying aware, staying informed, and giving yourself the best chance to live a long, healthy, independent life. And it all starts with knowing these subtle warning signs, because sometimes the smallest things are the biggest clues. Let's keep going, because these subtle signs can make all the difference when it comes to your health and independence. Now, another surprising but common silent symptom of a stroke is a sudden change in your vision. It might come on like a shadow over one eye, or both. Some people describe it like a blurry patch, others like a curtain being pulled down. It may only last a few minutes, which makes it even easier to ignore. But even a brief episode like this could signal a disruption in the blood flow to your brain, specifically the parts that control how you see and interpret the world around you. It's easy to blame it on dry eyes, old glasses, or just being tired, and sometimes it is. But here's the important part. When something changes that suddenly and you can't trace it to a clear cause, like rubbing your eyes too hard or staring at a screen too long, it's worth paying attention to, especially if it's accompanied by a headache, dizziness, or trouble focusing. Your vision is deeply connected to your brain, and a stroke doesn't always hit like a thunderclap. Sometimes it sneaks in quietly, and your eyes are the first to notice. Speaking of headaches, that brings us to another overlooked symptom: sudden, severe headaches that feel different from your usual ones. You know your body. You know what your typical stress or tension headaches feel like. But when you experience a headache that's sharper, more intense, or more sudden than anything you're used to, especially if it's paired with confusion, vision problems, or numbness, it's time to take that seriously. Many older adults write off headaches as dehydration or lack of sleep. And while those are very real causes, a sudden thunderclap-style headache, one that comes out of nowhere and hits hard, can be an early indicator of a stroke or even a mini-stroke. These are also known as TIAs, or transient ischemic attacks, which are like small strokes that often precede a larger one. And the tricky thing is, they pass quickly. You might feel totally normal again in an hour or two, but that doesn't mean the danger is gone. It means your body just gave you a warning shot. Another subtle sign is numbness or weakness that seems to come and go. Maybe your hand feels heavy when holding a fork, or you suddenly drop something without knowing why. Or perhaps your leg feels oddly sluggish when you stand up from a chair, even though there's no pain. We often associate strokes with full-body weakness or a collapsed side of the face, but sometimes it's just a moment where one limb isn't cooperating like it should. What's especially tricky about these symptoms is how easy they are to ignore. You might shake your hand out and think, "That was strange," then go on about your day. But when your body sends you messages like that, especially if you've never experienced them before, it's time to pause and pay attention. It's not about panicking, it's about being proactive. Because the truth is, the sooner you act, the better your chances of avoiding long-term damage. Many people also report feeling unusually tired or mentally foggy during the early stages of a stroke. You might feel like you're moving in slow motion, struggling to focus or stay alert, even if you had a good night's sleep. Brain fog isn't unusual after 60, but when it comes on fast and feels like your thoughts are slipping away or slowing down, it can be a sign your brain isn't getting the oxygen it needs. And again, this is where intuition comes in. You know when your mind is a little slower because you didn't get your coffee, and you know when something deeper feels off. That difference, that gut feeling, is what we're tuning into here. Because at this stage of life, your body has wisdom. It knows how to speak to you. The question is, are you listening? If you're noticing any combination of these things, strange headaches, fogginess, limb weakness, odd vision shifts, it's okay to be cautious. In fact, it's not just okay, it's wise. You're not overreacting. You're taking responsibility for your health. And trust me, that's a beautiful thing. What makes this so important is not just recognizing the signs, but knowing that many strokes are preventable, and many can be treated effectively if caught early. The earlier you speak up, the more options you have, and that means a better shot at recovery, independence, and getting back to doing the things you love. Because here's the truth. Aging doesn't mean giving up control. It means becoming more in tune with your body, more confident in advocating for your health, and more aware of what you need to live fully. And if part of that means picking up on signs others might miss, then you're already one step ahead. Let's keep this conversation going because there's one more silent sign that too often flies under the radar, and it has everything to do with how you speak and understand language. If you've ever found yourself struggling to get the right words out, or maybe you know exactly what you want to say but can't quite form the sentence, that's not just frustrating, it could be a warning flag. Language difficulty is one of the more surprising early signs of a stroke. You might suddenly start slurring your words, using the wrong words altogether, or even speaking in a way that doesn't make sense. And on the flip side, some people can hear someone talking to them and feel like the words just aren't registering. Like it's all noise, but the meaning is gone. That kind of confusion, where speaking or understanding becomes a challenge, deserves attention, especially if it comes on suddenly and isn't something you've experienced before. Now this is where things get really personal, because many people feel embarrassed when this happens. We live in a world that places so much value on being sharp, quick, articulate. So when words fail us, even briefly, it can feel like we're slipping. But I want to tell you right now, there is no shame in that moment. What matters is recognizing it and giving yourself the power to act. It's incredibly brave to say, hey, something feels off, and get checked out. Because strokes don't always come with dramatic symptoms. Sometimes it's a quiet change in your ability to form a sentence, a moment of confusion, a feeling that your body is moving through molasses while the world keeps turning. And you have every right to treat those moments with the same seriousness as a pain in the chest or a high fever. Here's the empowering part. When you do speak up early, when you call your doctor, get checked out, or go to urgent care, you're giving yourself the very best chance at a full recovery. Strokes are medical emergencies, but they're also medical opportunities. There's a critical window where fast action can save brain cells, reduce permanent damage, and preserve the life you love living. And let's be honest, we all want to live life on our terms, to stay independent, to keep our routines, to enjoy time with family and friends, to wake up each morning feeling like we're still in control. Recognizing the silent signs of stroke is one of the most powerful ways to protect all of that. What you've learned today isn't just about warning signs, it's about tuning into your body, trusting your instincts, and honoring the fact that your health is worth fighting for. You're not overreacting when you listen to your body, you're taking control. And that kind of awareness, that kind of self-care, is what keeps you moving forward. So here's my gentle encouragement to you. If anything you've heard today feels familiar, or if you've experienced something odd that you brushed off in the past, consider revisiting it with a fresh perspective. It's never too late to take action. Talk to your doctor, share what's been going on, and don't minimize the signals your body gives you. You deserve to feel well, to feel strong, and to feel safe in your own body. And just by being here, listening, and learning, you've already taken a powerful step in that direction. Before you go, I want to remind you to check out the affiliate links in the description. I've listed some great tools and resources that can support your brain, your heart, and your overall well-being. These aren't just products, they're part of a toolkit for aging confidently and staying in control of your health. If this video helped you in any way, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more supportive, practical, and empowering content made just for you. And if you've ever experienced a silent symptom like the ones we talked about today, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Your story might be the one that inspires someone else to speak up and seek help. Here's to living wisely, staying strong, and knowing that your health and your story truly matter at every age. I'll see you in the next video. Be well.